This week's episode of Mind Gap Podcast is brought to you by Balrog's Flame of Udun Hot Sauce. You've heard about all the hot sauces out there. Da Bomb, The Last Dab, and Mad Dog 357 No. 9 Plutonium. Congrats, you have ears. But there's another hot sauce that you may not have heard about because it comes from the old world. And I'm not talking about Europe. I'm talking about Middle Earth, son. I'm talking about Balrog's Flame of Udun Hot Sauce. The Scoville scale doesn't go high enough to capture how hot this is because it's enchanted by the nameless terror to truly burn through the souls of the weak. Only a true hero with a pure heart and bowels of mithril could even hope to survive an encounter with this sauce. Seriously, if you are a legendary hero, a serving size of a mere toothpick would cause you to burst into cursed flames and be consumed by the raging fire. So, are you up to the challenge? Will you defeat this terrible evil, or will you not pass and fall into shadow? The only way to find out is to head over to mindsofmoria.com now and get your 5-ounce bottle today. Enter the promo code MINDGAP at checkout to get 10% off the cleanup service for your ashy remains. Show the world you're a true hero. Give Balrog's Flame of Udun a try today. This week's episode is brought to you by Elfin and Castle, located at 185 North Wabash and 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois. Look, I know you're looking for that perfect English pub experience so you can grab some incredible drinks and tasty food. Elfin and Castle has you covered. They have excellent daily drink specials, happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., and some delicious-ass food for you to chew on while you watch some fucking sports. Come on down to Elfin and Castle at 185 North Wabash or 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois, and tell them that Mind Gap Podcast sent you. Well, howdy doody there, friends. On this week's episode, Justin and I talk about 3 very important things. How Illinois is shifting to Central Daylight Time permanently, what we think about the screen test for the new Batman movie featuring Robert Pattinson, and whether or not NASCAR is a sport. That's right. 3 interconnected topics with expert segues navigated by the masters of podcasting, Justin and me. So set your clock ahead an hour, put on your Batman cowl, and fire up your 800 horsepower 5.9 liter V8 car and get ready to race into episode 236 of Mind Gap Podcast.
Mind Gap Podcast.
Whatever. It's not about me.
No.
It's about us. The human race.
The royal us.
The royal us. The gender-neutral us. Sitting in this lovely, lovely banquet room, which you could rent for a nominal fee at Elfin and Castle, located at 185 North Wabash and 111 West Adams.
Correct. You cannot rent this room at 111 West Adams, but they have a room of their own that you can rent.
For a nominal fee.
For a fee.
They also have good food and drinks.
They fee. So
I went to junior high with a guy named Fifi.
Did you really?
Was Fifi Armand.
Was he French?
He was not. I mean, maybe from a French colony.
I hardcore judge him then if he's not French and his name's Fifi.
Yeah.
What kind of foo-foo name is Fifi?
Dude, that's the only one you get tonight, pal.
You're welcome.
The only one you get tonight. Hope it was worth it. I hope it was worth it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I will take it. It was interesting because as we were, oh man, I need to start writing things down.
Yeah.
Because as I was talking, I thought of something that I forgot, and I forgot it again. Well, I thought of something that I was supposed to. I was like, there's something I was supposed to remember, and I didn't remember it.
Was it something to talk to Drew about?
That's something to talk. I think. Fuck it. I don't remember.
God
anyway.
Damn it, man.
So. Brain problems, this guy. Woo. That's what he's having. No, Drew had messaged me and said, "What time are you guys going live tonight?" And I said, "We're going live about 6:30." Again, if we could get the fucking stream to work, it would have been close to 6:30.
Yep.
We're going about 6:30 p.m. Because he said good because he's got things to talk about. And I said, however, Drew, in the fall, if you're watching us on Twitch, it'll be 7th. Well, it'll be, instead of 2 hours away, it'll be 3 hours away. Doug, we're going to get into math.
Drew is on the West Coast.
Drew's on the West Coast. We are in Chicago. And starting early March, daylight saving time kicks in, right? And we jump ahead. We spring ahead. It's the last time we're doing it.
Yeah, in Illinois.
Last time we're doing it in Illinois. Allegedly, because no credible articles have been written.
That's right. Hey, don't get distracted. Stay on target.
Sorry, someone paid us a compliment on Twitch. Yes.
Finish your thought.
Sorry about that. Yes. So there's been no credible fucking articles written about this daylight savings time change within the last month plus. So I don't know if Congress has actually allowed this or not, but Illinois has made the decision. They put a bill into play, voted, passed that we are no longer observing the spring ahead fall back. So basically, the way that I'm hearing it is that part of the year we're going to be Central Time, and part of the year we're going to be East Coast time ? Because we will be the same time as New York.
Yeah.
And 3 hours ahead of West Coast. So that to me would no longer put us in Central Time. We would be in East Coast time.
We'd be in Illinois time.
We'd be in Illinois time because we're special.
Because if the East Coast falls back, then we're ahead of the East Coast.
No, we're all just springing forward. So we will be.
No. But what if the East Coast doesn't? Remember, because this is only Illinois that's falling back.
No, that's not falling back. Right.
So if someone on the East Coast springs forward, let's do this. Where's our whiteboard? We need a whiteboard.
We really do need a whiteboard.
Thank you, Jared, for the birthday wishes.
And also thank you, Robinson Drum Guy, for saying great music podcast.
My buddy Colby coming into the stream.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, pal. Good to see you, man.
Yes. Okay. So let's break this down.
Break it down.
This right here is the problem. This is we're in the middle, Doug. We found ourselves in the problem.
Because I didn't think much about the implications of this on the other side. It's just I was very egocentric.
I will. Oh fuck! Hold on. I have to text my dad to jump in because he did say when you guys record this, let me know because he brought this to my attention.
Oh boy!
Apparently, the family got together and they were they had a big when they were having some birthday party or something. They got onto this topic and they had this giant discussion about. Well, here's another way we're gonna get fucked, and they started just kind of picking apart that ball of yarn, and they were like, "Oh man, this has much further reaching implications than we thought."
Let me try and brain power this out while you're doing that.
On Twitch. I'm gonna narrate.
I'm
gonna dictate what we're doing. We're
really
live on Twitch, talking about. Nope, not tasking. Hold on, autocorrect. Talking about. Sorry, go ahead.
So
savings time.
God damn you. So right now, we are currently an hour behind East Coast. This is true. We can all agree.
Yes. Right now, it is 6:50 p.m. in Chicago. The East Coast, it is 7:50 p.m.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Come springtime, we will spring forward, as will most people in the East Coast and presumably most of the people in the U.S.
Correct. So at that point, it will be...
Still the same. We're still an hour behind East Coast.
Right.
It's still...
But springing forward, that means it's now 5:30, right? No, that would be gaining. So then it would be 7:30 or 7:50 right now.
Yes.
And it would be 8:50 their time.
Correct.
Okay, so we're both ahead an hour.
Come winter time, they will fall back and we will be the same time as Eastern time.
Correct.
Yes,
so we'll
right,
stay 7:50. They will then be 7:50 as well.
Gotcha. So that'll be a weird thing where for a certain part of the year we'll be Eastern time.
Right.
And then the other time we will be back to shifting. And just Illinois.
Just
that
Illinois.
doesn't include like Wisconsin,
right,
or Missouri,
so
or anything else. So
if you go up to Madison, right, if you go up to Wisconsin just for a day, or Milwaukee, or heaven forbid you work. Maybe you're on the where my family is in the Quad Cities. Maybe they're on the Illinois side. They're in Moline, and someone works in Davenport or
going up to
Bettendorf,
Michigan,
right?
Michigan's on Eastern time,
and you fucking jump over, and you're like, oh wait a second. This morning I got to be at the office at what time now? Is it daylight savings time over there across the river?
Same thing in Indiana. You cross over,
but not in the region, not in Hammond, Whiting. There's a pocket that is on Central Time, and then you jump into, and I think South Bend, if I'm not mistaken, South Bend doesn't fall back either. So even complicating this further, there's one island in Indiana that's like, you know what? Not us.
It's the same
Not
way.
us.
It's the same way in Arizona. There's a pocket in the northeastern corner that's like, we do whatever the fuck we want.
We're mountain time. What is that?
It's like when you back in the old days, like with railroads and stuff.
Yeah.
People would come into town and like, what time is it here? And people would adjust their watches
Right.
to the time. It was actually because
Yeah.
of the railroads that people started having a standardized time.
Yeah.
So people would know that 3:30 in one place is 3:30 somewhere else. So people aren't like, I missed my train.
Right.
It's like, yeah, dude, because we were on different time.
Right.
And then that's actually what caused like people to get all on the same page.
Yeah.
And now we are just lighting that on fire.
I still say, this is where I say, we've talked about this. Fuck time zones.
Fuck time. Hard
Everyone right now, starting tomorrow, everyone, it's 6 a.m.
Across the world.
I don't care where you are. It's 6 fucking a.m. That's it. Hard stop. Good morning.
Good morning.
Would that not make everything simpler?
I mean, we could probably break down the complications to that.
But so think about this though. So now if you're in Chicago, okay, and it's the fall,
Yeah.
let's say it's 7 p.m. You drive to the region in Indiana, and all of a sudden it's 6 p.m. And then you drive 2 more miles, and now it's 7 again. How the fuck does that work?
I mean, they got satellites.
It's just
They'll
so.
update your phone automatically.
It's so shitty.
Connect to Wi-Fi, you're good to go, man. No problem.
I mean, just think about though, like how, okay, so you and I both work in an office where we have to potentially deal with people in other time zones. Whenever I send an email out, every single time I send an email out, I go, and I hate one of my biggest pet peeves when people don't do this, when we schedule a call. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll call you at 2:30. I'm like, 2:30 what? Where are you? Because I'm dealing with the client. I don't know where this client is. So they go so every time I'm like, I'll call you at 2:30 p.m. CT. So they know, figure out what the difference is. That's when that's when I need to be on this call, right? So now you've got to go, okay, so it's fall, which means that if I'm dealing with someone when Drew and I have our calls, I'm like, I have to go, okay, so I'm going to call you at 2:30 p.m. CT. Well, it's fall, so does that mean it's actually this time, or is it spring where it's this? That just fucking complicates. That's one more level of people not being able to fucking do things right.
To a much more minimal level, it's the same thing because like places like Europe don't recognize daylight savings time.
Sure.
So
again, the rest of the world, the rest of the civilized
they're on
world,
the metric system, and they don't do daylight
universal
savings
healthcare.
time. Like it works.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you'd be like, wait, so how far ahead are they? Are they 5 or 6 hours ahead?
Right.
Depending on the time of year. Yeah, I don't understand why this happens, and I'm glad we're kind of killing it.
Well, and it's interesting when reading the articles that I could find, and most of them are again, I would say 90% of the articles you're going to find out there were written like around November 13th when the bill was introduced and voted on.
Yeah.
Very few current ones. And what also I learned is that apparently the Senate also has to vote, the Congress, the federal level has to vote on this to allow us to do. So we can say, hey guys, we want to do this. And then they can say, okay, or no.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if I can't find an article saying yay or nay to that.
I mean, I feel like I've heard in the news that this is happening. So.
But again, that seems like I feel like Chicago would bully the rest of Illinois into be like, we're doing this.
Well, I mean, that's where most of the representation for the state is.
We control.
So, I mean, we are.
Right.
I mean, that's where the population is.
Those fuck knuckles in Washington aren't going to tell us what we can do.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
States' rights.
Right.
Woo! Yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to that. Swinging forward and never turning back.
You think you're excited about it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that goes against a lot of what some of the polls have indicated. They're saying the older generations, Gen X's and baby boomers, are like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get rid of it. And a lot of the millennials, a lot of the younger generation, even though we border on millennial and Gen X, a lot of the younger generations are like, I don't know if this is a good idea. How am I going to know and eat my avocado toast? That's a quote.
Out of context.
Out of context. So I just find it interesting because I thought a lot of the younger people would be like, yeah, fuck all this shit.
Yeah,
Let's make it simple.
Understand why the younger generation would be like, no, I want to have one. I remember when I was a kid, I was always like really bummed when it was spring forward. I'm like, man, I can't believe we're losing an hour for the whole spring. And my dad was like, what? I go, yeah, man, I hate losing like just all these hours. Like I didn't understand how this worked. I just assumed like we lost an hour every day for the duration of this. My dad, I remember we were driving the car. My dad just looked at me. He goes, it's 1 hour this one day. And I was like, oh, right, okay.
Right. But wait, how?
I was like, oh, we only lose 1 hour total. Oh, derp. I was like, yeah, it just kind of sucks. And I mean, I don't know. I've never been able to find a good reason as to why this is. People are like, it's farming. Some people are just like, oh, it's, I don't know. Who gives a shit? Just get rid of it, man.
Something about conserving energy. Like it happened so long ago that at this point, farming happens around the clock now, 24/7, 365. It like, there's so many advances in technology. Okay.
They got to get subsidies to keep that shit going.
Am I right?
Right, policymakers? Welcome to Farming Podcast.
Guys, your local elections are coming up.
What do you know about irrigating your corn? Monsanto, yay or nay?
I'll tell you what I know about irrigating my corn. It sounded like such a fucking double entendre.
Yeah.
What do you know about irrigating your corn?
Maybe you're gonna irrigate. You're gonna do some crop rotation.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit the northeast fields this year for a couple years.
I just crop dusted.
Well, I have nothing else to add. We're good.
Again, it's one of those things where I think things have come, we've advanced so far that we like the reasons that we put these in place for whatever those are, I have to assume are so far gone. They're so far outdated. And now we're just holding on to this because it's what we've always done.
What I'm so excited for is also when we post about when we're going live. I mean, that CST on our logo. I mean,
you're welcome.
Take it for what it's worth, gang. Take it for what it's worth.
Is it Eastern now? Again, that's the thing that I want to find an article that tells me, is Central Time still a thing for Illinois? Or
it has to be because everyone else switches.
Right. Well, again, so does half the year? Or does Central Time in Illinois just have a whole new, is it ILT? Illinois Time.
It's Central Illinois Standard Time. SIST.
I'm going to call you at 6 p.m. Sist. What?
Is that like stat? It's totally different.
Nothing like it.
Neither one of them are good.
Neither one of them. You don't want to know. The other thing that worries me now is, and I don't watch a lot of live TV, but in my head, I'm just like, all right, let's say I want to catch SNL. Am I watching it at my normal, like, is it now 9:30? Or is it still 10:30? Or is it 11:30? What fucking time am I watching it? When CBS Sunday Morning comes on. And I need to get my old man on.
Stop.
And I need to get my old man on.
Why do you rub the table like that when you say, like, when I get my old man on?
Do I say it every time I say old man on?
Old man on. And you do like a nice wax on motion on
this table. You're going to start to see where the rotation of my hand hits.
Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be nice and greasy, a little bit wet.
Yeah.
Be like, ooh. That's for you guys. Enjoy that. I'm going to enhance that as best as I can. Make that demonic noise in there.
Yeah. Wookie.
What? Is that supposed to be Jabba the Hutt?
Well, when you do the thing, it'll sound like him. Come on, man. You got to, we'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. Ha-ha, Wookie.
Make that sound like Jabba. Mickey is now Jabba. No, but like, if there's anything that you want to watch live, like, what fucking time is it going to be?
That's also something I didn't consider because I was like, it's your normal time. And I'm like, but is it?
What's normal? Normal's out the fucking window now.
So if you say Central Time, but is it 8:30 for everyone else? Or is it 9:30 for you?
Thank you.
The listeners can't see Justin, but he shoved his head under like he's trying to go into his shell and popped his arms out wide like, case closed!
Do you not see the
prosecution rests, Your Honor.
Do you not see the madness?
That poor table. Poor table.
That's my table rubbing sound.
It's like, I'm going to wipe this varnish right off of you. I'm going to get it.
It is coming off.
Thank you, Robinson Drums, for acknowledging my fantastic Missouri education. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
It comes through. It shines. It shines.
I feel like at some point, because now there's three. There's Hawaii, Arizona, and Illinois that will be not observing the time change anymore. And I think it said there were around 36 states introduced legislation in 2019 to do away with it, standardizing daylight savings time. They included Missouri.
Oh! no.
Missouri included. But then Missouri went, no, it's the devil's errand.
They're like, no, abortions happen in this hour, and we will prevent it.
Hashtag Missouri. We gonna get you.
You know, the other day I was, I gotta confess something.
Both fails.
I gotta confess something right now. Yeah. I started playing World of Warcraft again.
Well done.
And I joined a Discord server to hang out with my buddy Eric on there, and I was just sort of like getting to know this guild that he's in, and people were like talking shit about some state. I forget what they said. Like, oh man, this state's the worst. I'm like, you ever been to Florida? Someone goes, hey, I'm from Florida. I go, yeah, I know, but you ever been to Missouri? This guy goes, I'm from Missouri. I'm like, no shit. Where are you from? He's like, woo! Like, he didn't do that, but it was one of those things where I'm like, God, I am just torching everything. You ever been to the moon? Hey, my dad went to the moon.
I'm from the moon.
It's like, God damn it, man. I can't.
My grandfather was Buzz Aldrin.
I'm glad I didn't go too far into like the Missouri, because Missouri is always my punchline for everything.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing: you're allowed to have it be your punchline because you're from there.
Yeah.
So you can trash it all you want because it's your home.
Yeah. I was like, ugh. Yeah. It's always so fun to do around here because it's such an easy. It's a layup.
Oh, especially in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Anywhere, yeah.
You guys ever been to Missouri? Woo!
Oh boy. There it is.
You'd be lucky if you find a paved road. Am I right?
Knee slap, Missouri.
I asked my one of my coworkers the other day. I was like, I forget what we were talking about a particular type of store thing that you find. Hobby Lobby. We're talking about Hobby Lobby. Have you ever been to one? She goes, no. I go, yeah, I guess they're kind of mostly Midwestern. I go, you ever, hang out like in some place? She goes, I'm black. I don't tend to wander that far into the Midwest because it doesn't usually work in my favor. I'm like, yeah, you probably wouldn't go to too many Hobby Lobbies, let alone see them.
Yeah.
Based on where they're located.
Especially Hobby Lobbies.
Probably wouldn't find them. Yeah. Probably wouldn't enjoy them. So you probably just keep on going.
Keep on. Really, I would argue no one needs to go to a Hobby Lobby.
I thought I was almost going to have to go to one for the first time, and I was really sad about it because I was looking for these little pastry bag tips to make churros. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
say it again.
Pastry bag tips for churros.
Yeah.
We connected.
We did it, guys.
We vocally connected.
This episode of Mind Gap brought to you by Hobby Lobby.
Ugh. Didn't they? I think I remember an article about
Praise
them.
be.
Yeah, praise be for stealing religious artifacts from other countries. I'm almost positive I saw some article about that, and they had to give them back.
Guys, that's true now. You heard it right here on my.
If there's one
were
thing
they
we're
intending
known
on
for-
like replicating them and selling them?
Replicating. We will clone them in the lab.
This is the Shroud of Turin throw rug.
Also comes in party hats.
I'd like 3 yards of the Shroud of Turin. I'm gonna make a toga.
Look at this is a great bathroom rug. You guys want? He's a great party tablecloth.
Right. I need to make window treatments.
Window treatments from that shit. Yeah, I was so happy I didn't have to go because I ended up finding what I needed elsewhere. I was like, fuck, I guess I'm gonna have to go do it.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. You found your tips elsewhere?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that there's a representative out of Missouri who proposed making, I guess, Excello? Is that a place? EXCELLO? Based off this article, it seems as though it's out of Missouri, but he recently proposed making daylight savings time permanent in Missouri, but only after 20 other states join a pact. And I was like, this is the part of politics and this whole trying to change something that's been around forever that I loathe.
I mean, I kind of get it because if you get everyone on board,
right,
it makes it easier.
So I wonder, is it the 20 that are in are there 20 that are in Central Time?
Because if it's like Illinois was able to convince Wisconsin and,
right,
and Iowa and all the surrounding states are like, we're going to do this as together.
Right.
It makes it easier for everyone to do that. So I kind of get it. But at the same time, it's also such a non-issue.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a comparison. Like, we will open all the roads to our state as long as the roads are open to these other 19 states. It's like, just open your roads, dude.
Why don't you just open them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that Illinois is going to, obviously in the area, I don't want to call us trailblazers, Doug, so I won't. But
good.
I do think it's only a matter of time before the dominoes start falling in this. And I legitimately do. I've never understood it. I've never really been, okay, it happens, whatever. I don't lose sleep over it, except I actually do. Get it?
That's 2.
I snuck another one in.
Okay.
But I am glad that it's starting to go away because I don't find it necessary anymore. I do hope other states start to adopt this at this point, purely because my head is spinning trying to figure out like the logistics behind all of it.
Because the thing is, like, it's kind of a big deal, but it's also kind of not. It's a situation where it's like, all right, an hour here, an hour there. It's not like, all right, I just crossed over to Missouri. It is now 12 hours behind,
right,
or whatever.
Sure, it's not a big deal.
When you're talking about, like, I want to watch the Super Bowl.
Right.
When does it start for me? It's
right.
like, well, I mean, what time of year is it? Right. And where are you?
But even if you're across that, like with my aunts and uncles coming over, like if they have a family party, well, our reservations are at this time, so come over here at this time, and they're like, all right, well, we're an hour ahead of them, and we're under 10 miles away.
Yeah, right. It's a lot of brain power that doesn't need to be spent on that.
And look, I get it. Like if you live on a state that borders a time zone, sure.
Yeah.
Or in a city that borders a time zone, you've dealt with this for a long time. I get it, but you have not dealt with the fact that within a year's time span, there is a variable. Like your time is changing within.
Why don't we check out to these places that just have given it up and be like, give us advice.
Right.
What should we do?
Yeah.
When do you watch SNL?
Thank you.
Right. Tell me.
Or CBS Sunday Morning.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, God, stop it. Stop that poor table, man.
So Jared said he's glad his dumb state voted against it. We did a trial over here while I was working night shift. My 10-hour shift became 11 hours because of the change.
Well, I always wondered about that. The guys that worked the night shift, and it was either they'd lose an hour when it was falling, whatever it is.
Falling back.
Falling back, and they had to work an extra hour, or they lost
so spring ahead, they had to work an extra hour. Yeah.
And then when it was fall back, they get it because just time went back.
Their shift was shorter,
I was like, God damn it, that sucks.
I didn't realize that they had this concept in Australia. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Does any other place in Australia, Jared, as you're listening here, does any other place actually do? Because I did think that the United States was the only ones that went back and forth.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
The ones that vacillated?
Right. I thought we were the only vacillation country.
Yeah. Vacillation.
The time vacillation.
Yeah. Time vacillation. The most awful name for a movie ever.
That's going to be my band name.
The Vacillation of Time.
That's going to be my book.
Vacillation of Time.
Right.
Makes it sound so much more important and gross.
The vacillation of time. Time.
Ugh, it sounds like some horrible religious book you'd come across.
Yes. It sounds gross. Would you be down though for completely doing away with time zones? At least in the United States itself. Because this goes back, for those who have not listened for a long time, this debate goes back to our the days where we worked together and we did the time travel debates and everything. We once talked about just this.
We had a very heated debate and we still can't remember where we landed.
Right.
And what side we were on.
Neither of us can remember which side we're arguing, and now I think both of us are like, yeah, sure, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not as good. Jared says they have it in the eastern states, those fucks.
Accurate.
Yeah.
They are fucks.
I mean, I guess it's all about daylight, right? How much daylight you want to see and be a part of in your day-to-day work.
Or even, again, just split the country down. There's Eastern time and Western time.
Yeah.
I would even be okay with that. Because again, between Central and Eastern, we're going to see there's not going to be much difference.
Yeah.
You need a little bit more. So like to simplify, instead of having 4 time zones and only like half of 3 states even recognize the mountain time zone.
Yeah.
Like there's like a city.
I'm kind of an idiot here because I'm just like, I don't see, other than just like, I want to make sure that I have the most daylight possible for when it's time to go to sleep. And I guess does it work with our circadian rhythms?
Yes, it does. 100%.
I have no idea. Because I mean, imagine if it's like, cool, it's 6 a.m. in LA, but then it's like, I don't know, call it an hour difference in New York. And it's like, this is, I don't know, man. I'm having a really hard time wrapping my head around this.
I'm not going to lie, man.
It's just a giant swirling thing. I'm trying to be like, what's it going to be like if this is where? And
well, I actually, for years, I could not figure out when they said like, oh, it's you get a little bit more sunlight in the fall, like however, again, I don't know how it fucking works. I never, when people were like, well, no, the sun rises earlier. I'm like, that doesn't make sense though. If we're falling back, it doesn't rise earlier. We're losing. It goes backwards until like it's darker because now what was 6 a.m. is now 5 a.m. And then I actually drew it and I was like, here's the sun, here's 6. Now if it's, oh, I get it. Because the sun is always there. We're just changing what time it is. So it took me
man-made concepts.
It took me years to figure that out, and until I drew it out, did not understand it. So I feel like this is something where we would need our giant whiteboard again to figure out how this is going to work. Do you think that's how that happened in the Illinois Congressional House? Like where they were like, all right, guys, here's a giant whiteboard.
All I know is I'm glad you and I are not in charge of this because we would not be suited to do this. I just, it's not good. Jared says the time zones in summer are fucked in Australia.
Why is that? All right, so let's see. Robinson Drum Guy says, I don't know. Historically, Americans don't do well with having something and then having it taken away. Prohibition.
That's so true.
Well, that's not wrong.
You're like, what I really want to do is like have someone be like, just like, this is time theft. The government is stealing our time. This is all
time
part
theft.
of the plan. The globalists are here to steal our time. Don't give in.
The next thing you know, they're going to be taking your years away. What comes next? Days? Maybe then weeks? Dare they go after your months? Just wait till they take your children's years away. Before you know it, your 4-year-old's 28.
And it'll just
You've missed their wedding?
It'll get distilled into some horrible message. It's like, so-and-so, Justin Strandon believes in stealing time. This paid for by the
Exactly.
like, what?
By the flat earthers.
This is like a billboard that's up in there. It's like, so-and-so believes in time theft.
This would be Alex Jones up and down. This is all him right here.
You believe this?
Yeah.
Do you believe this?
Do you believe
the global elite not only has vampires feeding off the essence of children, molesters, mind you, they are going to steal the time from hard-working Americans, and they're turning the frogs gay. Like whatever insanity that he barfs out. You know, it's like,
God, that man.
Stealing time. It's like,
and Crooked Hillary's stealing time over there underneath the Pizza Hut. God damn it, man.
Not only was 9/11 an inside job, but they are going to use the same people, hired actors, crisis actors,
to steal your time.
Pretty
sure. So Jared says, pretty sure one of the states changed by 30 minutes. That's ridiculous. 30. What does 30 minutes get you?
I was like, that doesn't do anything.
But of course, then we're doing, what's another 30? It's just an hour.
Can you imagine if does that seem absurd? It's like, hey guys, we're falling back 30 minutes.
Now it's 5:30.
Why are we doing halves? Why are we doing, just make it one whole thing. Actually, we're doing 45. Let's make it really awful.
Right.
Falling back 45 minutes.
We're doing 48 minutes and 22 seconds every third month. We're going to vacillate between those.
Every quarter, we're going to go back and then forward and then back and forth. It's fine. It'll work itself out.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Just let it, give it 10 years. You'll get used to it.
Everything just needs time to come. You'll get used to it. It's okay.
Oh my God.
What's going on, Clown Pup? Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for coming back. Good to see you.
Jared also says South Australia changes by 30 minutes. Listen to the song 1955 by Hilltop Hoods and you'll understand South Australia. Okay.
No.
In the song, is there a time change?
Well, getting super meta there.
Am I right? Like when they were recording it, they recorded it.
That's 3, by the way.
That was unintentional.
That's 3.
Can I have it back?
Nope.
That was unintentional.
No, it doesn't matter.
What was it?
He said there was a time change.
Right.
Is there a time change in the song? We're talking about changing time.
Yeah.
It's a bad pun.
Wait, no, it wasn't a pun. It was a legitimate question. Like, were they recording it?
It was a pun. That's 3.
That's 3.
No more! You burned those early, son.
I got one more coming, guys. Don't worry. I'll sneak it in somewhere. I'll sneak it in like a sneaky little snake.
All right. Well,
have I melted your brain enough, Doug?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be as bad as that turned out to be.
Yeah.
So
because again, you hear it, and I'll leave it here. You hear it, and you're like, okay, like sure, like we're just not going to go back and forth. That's fine. But then you really start to break it down. And you're like, oh wait, hold on. There's a lot of layers to this.
Yeah, and stuff that I don't.
And there's no articles to help you through it, guys. Zero.
And the thing too is that I just don't have the brain power to really want to figure it out either. I don't have the desire.
I don't even care.
I don't care. I'm just like, just tell me what time it is.
But there's no articles to tell you, Doug.
I know. That's how the government does it.
Right.
You know?
Oh, hey,
Oh,
dull
hey,
moment.
dull moment.
Thanks for jumping in now. You missed our entire time debate.
Yeah, right? Man, if only he had the time stone. Just turn back time.
If you could turn back time.
Like Doctor Strange. in Avengers Endgame. In Infinity War 2.
Drew jumps in and Doug starts talking about Marvel. Coincidence? I think not.
Well,
Alex
actually,
Jones, have at it.
Based on Marvel, there's also their antithesis, which is DC. And did you know that there's a new Batman movie coming out soon?
Boo, 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 boo.
Wow.
Well played.
And they recently, Matt Reeves is the director of that, released a screen test of the Batman footage of Robert Pattinson in the bat suit, and it looks pretty sweet. I'm a pretty big fan of it.
I was very, very excited. I had to watch it a couple times because the first time I watched it, when they slowly pan up to kind of there, it starts with a black screen and it slowly fades into this crimson red color.
Yeah,
and you see the chest plate, and it pans over then to the shoulder, and then pans up as more light starts filling the screen, and you see the cowl and his face and his jaw, and then it goes to black again.
Yeah, it's got pretty cool music too.
Yeah, and so the first time I saw it, his shoulder, when he was like breathing or something, his shoulder looked like it was like a separate piece of armor or something, how it was moving. And I swear that I saw I thought it was his emblem in his chest. I thought there were gears in it. Like I was like, oh, his whole suit is like mechanized.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like a steampunk Batman. And I was like, well, this is an interesting direction.
Okay.
And I almost texted you and go, Doug, have we seen a steampunk Batman in the comics?
It exists.
Okay.
It does. Just so you
I was
know.
very worried. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be a good move, man. And I watched it again. I'm like, okay, nope, eyes played tricks on me.
We're going way out there.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts on it?
I was very excited when I first saw it. Again, after I got past my concept that it was going to be steampunk, I thought it was very interesting. I have to admit, there's a controversy floating around online about the Daredevil comparison, and everyone's like, oh, looks like they're ripping it off from Daredevil. And I was like, great. If you have a top-down cowl and it's bathed in red, gonna look like Daredevil. Sorry, it just is.
Yeah, I mean, you can
That's
see
his costume.
You can see his eyes,
Right.
so I'd say not Daredevil.
Not Daredevil, yeah.
Also, a glaring bat symbol on his chest, not Daredevil.
No, well, we don't know. We don't know, man.
I mean, there's a bat symbol in the screen test.
Also, I would argue, isn't it Daredevil that looks like Batman?
Shit.
Whoa.
Shit.
Need my soundboard.
Oh my god. Wow, that floored Justin right there.
I did not expect that one to come out. Oh, boy.
Doug's bad Owen Wilson. Really, what I was doing was a half-assed sissy.
I know. But you went Owen Wilson with it. Was not expecting that.
Oh my god.
It's more than Owen Wilson's ever said in his life. Yeah, I didn't. I could see it once people brought it up, but I didn't. I just thought it was bad. I wanted more.
Oh yeah,
that's like the first thing. I'm like, fuck, I want to see more of this now.
Yeah,
you know.
I thought it looked cool. I've been curious about Robert Pattinson being cast, and I like that they're focusing the story on this is going to be in year 2 of Batman, which I think is really interesting. It seems like they might be going almost like an Arkham approach to it.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. I'm curious to see more. I think Batman holds a special place in my heart because of Christopher Nolan.
Sure.
And my brother and I have had lots of conversations about what should DC do or everything. And honestly, I think DC should just stick with their individual franchises. Don't do a shared universe.
Agreed.
And find the tone that works. Dark and gritty seems to work for Batman. Just lean into it.
Right.
Lean into it.
Absolutely.
Enjoy it. Have fun. And go crazy with it. And I'm just curious to see what they're going to do. I love that Colin Farrell is going to be in it.
Oh, is he? See, I didn't look at any of the cast list.
He's playing Penguin, which I think will be cool.
Interesting.
But it's not going to be like supernatural Penguin. He's just going to be like rich
a
penguin.
penguin.
A real penguin.
So they're not going to go Danny DeVito / comic-esque.
Yeah.
The 1966 penguin.
Yeah.
They're going to go, well, I guess no more 1966 penguin because
exactly.
he was just like a guy with a top hat and a monocle. Yeah.
Just a wealthy crime boss, more or less.
Okay.
And then, of course, Andy Serkis as the CGI, Alfred is going to be really cool.
What?
Dude, you made that joke the last time we brought this
Oh,
up.
did I? Thank God. That's funny. That's a funny joke, Doug.
That is hilarious.
I like that joke.
I love Andy Serkis. I think he will be great as Alfred. And I'm just curious. I'm excited to see what will come from it. And I'm always pumped for another Batman movie.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just long enough. I think it got muddled with what they were going to do when they brought Ben Affleck in and what he wanted to do. And then he was going to be in this movie and then it didn't work out or he got pissed or whatever happened.
Well, I think part of the thing, too, is like I heard... I just cut you off. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I was just going to say, I think it got muddled and everyone was like, they had the Christopher Nolan thing. Everyone was like, well, what's next? Ben Affleck came around and then that got muddled. And I think everyone is waiting for that palate cleanser.
Yeah. I think for me...
not that Affleck did bad.
No, it's, when I look at... I read a really cool article about how to view Ben Affleck's Batman portrayal of Batman. Basically being like, this is Dark Knight Returns Batman, a guy who's seen horrible things happen. He's seen Robin die, and he's just a grumpy old dude who
100%
may be okay with killing people. You know, and when you look at it through that perspective, it's a lot easier, I think, to understand that performance versus whatever travesty that it was. It's dramatic, but
I don't think it was a travesty. I think the entirety of BVS was a tragedy.
Yeah.
I don't think I really liked Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman. I would have liked to see it even more fleshed out.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen him go after some not doomsday, but some street level crime. Like I would have loved to have seen him go after a Joker or a Riddler or something like that. That would have been cool.
Just what is Batman like this old in his life? We haven't seen that on screen yet.
Absolutely.
It'd been really nice to explore that.
Yeah. Although, I was cool with that.
I don't know. I would have loved to explore that a little bit more. It just got a little too fantastical, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It just a lot of that stuff just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Well, again, now because immediately you tried to bring in Wonder Woman and Cyborg and Flash, and it was too much.
It was too much.
Yeah. Without even doing like a Superman 2. I do think Robert Pattinson, I was curious about the casting at first.
Yeah.
But after seeing him and then I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm digging it.
He's proven to me to be way more than a Twilight or anything like that. I mean, he was great in his small role in Harry Potter. He's done a lot of great indie films.
He really has. I think he did that to try to break away from that Twilight.
He looks great in Tenet, like in Christopher Nolan's.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in it. Yeah, that's right.
He just looks like he's doing great stuff.
Right.
I can't wait to see what he does as a young Batman. And I think you asked me this, 8 years ago, right after Dark Knight Rises and everything like that. I'd probably be pretty pissy about it.
Right.
Because I was pissy when they were doing Batman v Superman. I was like, give it time to breathe.
Right.
People aren't going to know the difference. Like, let this exist. But I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see what happens. And I've also heard some things about that Batman symbol. Some of the people I don't know if it's a rumor, if it's confirmed that they're saying that is that's like the piece of the gun that killed his parents. He took that and fashioned that into the bat symbol.
It's almost like it's the handle of the butt of the gun.
Yeah.
That he's like split in two and fashioned it, which that is kind of cool. Like
nice touch.
Yeah.
To remind himself like where he came from. Again, something a young Batman would do.
Yeah.
I
will say we could say this for the minute, but we'll just go into it now. Haig his whole thing was he's like, I'm getting tired of, or was it Haig or Bob? It was one of the two of them. They're like, I'm getting tired of, it was definitely Bob. Because Bob's into the whole DC thing and Batman and Superman are his top two. And he's like, he's a little exhausted on the reinvention of Batman in every iteration in the sense that everyone's trying to do the next thing that sets theirs apart.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we had Michael Keaton's thing, and then now we have the rubber nipples on George Clooney. And then, we had the pared down version for
Nolan's
Christian Bale. And then Ben Affleck was like a torn up, almost like a nylon, or not a nylon suit, but like almost looked like Kevlar or something like that, and it had scratches on it, it was all beat up. And now this one, and I told him, I said, I'm just waiting for slap him back in the old 1966 Adam West
Yeah.
with the bright yellow thing on his chest.
Yeah.
Almost go more cartoony than I feel like we're going to eventually come back around to that circle. Are you getting exhausted with the rebooting and this and that and the,
I mean, it would,
or the reimagining rather?
well, I think I wish it wouldn't happen as quickly as it has, because I definitely didn't mind like the progression from Michael Keaton to Val Kilmer to George Clooney to then Nolan's. There was a lot of time that took
Sure.
place, because I mean the Keaton one came out in like 93 or
89.
something. 89
was
so we
the
had
first one.
89 all the way to 2012 when The Dark Knight Rises came out.
Right.
We had several iterations of it, and 3 of which were in the exact same universe,
Right.
under the same director. So that's a long time. And then we had the quick turnaround with Batman v Superman, Justice League, which was it was tough. So it seems tough that we're just keeping
And Suicide Squad for that matter. He was in it.
Yeah,
you
true.
know?
And then you also have Birds of Prey. You've got
he in that
Joker. Well, I mean, it's trying to be a part of the shared universe sort of stuff. So it can get exhausting just trying to be like, all right,
Right.
even though this just came out, I guess we're going to have to believe that this is something new, which, again, I'm willing to do. I'm willing to see the iteration of it. I'm willing to see, like, hey, what's going to come next?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? I think it's exciting. If they just do this one movie and they swap it out again, I'll probably be kind of pissed. It was the same thing with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was like, oh, well, we got to keep these rights, so we're going to keep churning it out. It's like, fuck. But what I loved about what they did with the more recent Spider-Man is they didn't tell the story again.
Right.
Of how he got bit. In fact, they just glossed over it. He's like, look, man, I don't want to answer all these questions.
Right. They leaned into it. Yeah.
He's like, it happened. It's over.
Very
I am
self-aware.
what I am now, and this is what's going on.
Yeah,
and
man.
it's like, and that's what they need to do with this. Is we don't need to see Bruce Wayne's parents dying.
I'm hoping
You've seen it in every goddamn Batman film.
Right.
Let's leave it out of this one. Okay.
I'm hoping that is enough.
Yeah, right.
If that is the gun that killed them,
Yeah.
that's enough. Maybe he references it, and then like that's the nod to it, and we're done. Moving on.
It doesn't have to be something prolific or anything. It doesn't need to be 2-3 minutes. It could be him maybe. He holds his chest. He looks up and see a photo of his parents.
Right.
And maybe there's a quick nod or whatever, and like Alfred's like, you'll never forget him because it's in your chest.
Right.
He's like, yeah, cool, done. We get it. We move on. We don't have to be like
Keeping it close to your heart.
Dad. Like,
Right.
yeah. it's we can do better.
That, or I'm wondering if they're conceptualizing it, because don't forget, this is just a camera test. So they might just be conceptualizing this, leaking that out, letting people run nuts with it like we are now, and then we'll see a suit that's completely different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
For me, I don't think what my fatigue is not the rebooting of Batman, but it's the reimagining of every single iteration has to have its own angle on the suit. And I'm just like, it's the bat suit. Like, just, you can keep it simple and have the story work for itself.
I don't worry about the suit so much because in the comics the suits have changed so much, and there's so
Yeah,
many
I guess
iterations.
that's true.
There's so many different ways that's been portrayed that it's different artists have taken different approaches to it. I mean, there's Batman of the future. There's Batman. I mean, Jesus, there's a Batman anime where he goes to freaking Japan and is like ninja guy fighting Joker, samurai sort of. There's different iterations of that all over the place.
So you're all right with the film, yeah.
I don't care. I'm always like, cool, it's an artistic choice.
Yeah.
They're gonna take their stab at how they're going to look. And I feel like it's the same thing with Marvel stuff. They're like, how are we going to make Thor look this time? Now, granted, we've only seen Thor in a handful of movies. It hasn't been over the last 20, 30 years that we've had to see this stuff over and over and over again. But yeah, that sort of stuff doesn't bother me too much.
I think for me, the biggest thing is to make sure that they just, I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see the backstory again.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing that people fall into. It's so easy when you're telling an iconic story or a superhero story. So easy to be like, well, we're rebooting it, so we really have to start at the beginning.
Don't treat us like idiots.
Right.
At
this point, if the property's been around for over 30 years, at this point, we've got it.
There hasn't been a 40-year break.
Right. Right.
We know.
Right.
Batman is very much ingrained in our pop culture, just like Spider-Man was.
Even the new kids coming up, they can figure it out.
They
can
exactly
figure it
what's
out.
Going out. They've got plenty of stuff they can read up on.
Right.
That's if there's one thing in my life that is a huge trigger for me, it's treating me like I'm stupid.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't do it. And it's the rule in comedy, which is play to people's highest intelligence. In my role as a trainer and designer, instructional designer, I'm like, I'm going to treat you like an adult who knows something. I'm not going to pander.
Right.
or painter's not the right word. I'm not going to be like, hey there, dummy.
Right.
Look at this little cartoon puppet. It's going to talk to you about sexual harassment. Don't touch him here. Like, no, I'm going to be like, hey, don't fucking do that because it's illegal.
Yeah.
All right? Knock it off.
Yeah.
Pal.
Hey, pal.
Hey, pal.
No.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, pal.
Yeah.
When's it coming out?
That's a good question.
Is it? I have to assume it's 2021 minimum because if they're just doing camera tests at this point, they can't be. I would be surprised if they actually had been, or if they're anywhere near the middle of filming right now.
Let's take a look. 14 hours ago, they said the Batman movie's release date is...
Drum roll, please.
June 25th, 2021.
All right, cool. All right, so summer movie release 2021. That's going to be the big blockbuster that year.
That will be a big one.
I wonder, do we know Marvel-wise what's coming out around the same time? What's it going to be up against?
Ooh, that's a good question.
All right.
We will find it.
Here we go. Doug's time to vanish.
I was like, I don't know. I don't feel like looking that one up for some reason.
Marvel movie release schedule. What do we got going on?
I've lost track of what is coming out.
I when I saw a trailer recently for the Black Widow again, I was just like, oh shit, that's right. This is still happening.
Yeah. Because there's Black Widow. I know the Eternals are coming. That sounds like a threat or a warning. The Eternals are coming. And
hey, our favorite website, Collider, put an article out here.
Not Corridor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the Eternals is coming out 2020. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That's February 2021. Mm-hmm. Is that going to be a series though? I thought that was going to be a series.
No, I think it's obviously it's a movie release. Get the real Mandarin for once.
Jesus.
What?
2021 is going to be fucking stacked for Marvel.
Yeah.
We've got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in February. We've got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
I cannot wait for that.
That's going to be May 7th. So that's going to be your end of spring, beginning of summer, like kicking it off. And then we've got an untitled Spider-Man Far From Home sequel, which this is the one that Sony acquiesced in and said, look, we'll do one more until we say, all right, help us with the rest of them. That's going to be July 16th, 2021. And so this one was coming out June. So
June 25th or something like that.
So it's going to be sandwiched between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. So that summer,
that sounds like a good summer.
that summer's going to be fucking
I'm looking forward to that, man. That's going to be fun.
And then Thor Love and Thunder is coming out November 5th, 2021.
Okay.
Black Panther 2 is May 6th, 2022. So there's going to be 4 Marvel properties coming out in 2021 and a Batman property. Drew, how excited are you for 2021 and the movies, man?
Because let's face it, Marvel is bringing back the mid-level budget movie with these 4 films.
You may have just given him an aneurysm. And I don't even know, when I call the medics for him, I don't know what time to tell him.
Yeah, right.
I was like, what time is it in San Diego? I don't know.
Just get over there fast.
Just get over there fast. I don't, what moment of death? I don't know.
Zero what? Zero
is the time in San Diego. It's 0.
0 hour.
So
are you on 24-hour time?
I'm on 0 hour time. So a dull moment actually also said there was something that he wanted to bring up.
Because this is the Dull Moment show.
Right, exactly.
I mean, really, we're happy to talk about it.
We are. Ryan, I'm going to read what he wrote here on the Twitch stream here. Ryan Newman was in the most horrific wreck I've ever seen. I've ever seen. Almost exactly 19 years to the day that Dale Earnhardt died on the last lap of the Daytona 500. Ryan Newman lived. Dale Earnhardt did not. Many attribute his survival to the death of Earnhardt. Doug does not consider NASCAR a sport. Go. It was a little bit of stream of conscious just getting ideas out. I guess when Dale Earnhardt died, they put a lot of extra safety protocols in. Like they increased like the neck harnesses that they have. I think they actually put some sort of a tethering system where they actually have a harness on that gets clipped in so their neck can't go too far or something like that. Drew says one of the new things this year was showing the driver's heart rates so they know where they're at if they're.
I feel like that's a HIPAA violation.
Peeking too much. Which got up to the same amount I do when I'm in a full run.
You should hook that up to me when I'm playing some shit like Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
Or when I'm raiding.
Or when Doug is sitting waiting for food to be done cooking.
Or maybe, yeah, right? Especially Millionaire Shortbread. Ooh. That's some good shit right there.
But all right, so things to unpack. It's terrible that he was in that accident. I've heard people make the argument, look, when you're getting into NASCAR racing, you know that like this is a possibility. It's like when you play football, you might get a concussion, you might this and this. I feel like that's a little crass to have that. I mean, I understand their sentiments, but still, like it was a terrible fucking accident that happened, and the guy's very lucky to be alive.
So I understand I don't know if I want to call it outrage, but so people are just sort of writing it off like, well, you know, it comes to the territory kind of situation.
Some people are, yeah.
Okay.
Some people are saying like, why is everyone so like he knew what he was getting into? Why is everyone up in arms about this? It's NASCAR. People crash. Mm-hmm. That's part of the game. Mm-hmm. You know, and
that's what it is. It's a game, not a sport.
Fuck. Shit. So anyway, some people are up in arms about that. Other people are sending their well wish and they're saying, no, this is absolutely tragic. I'm sure there's going to be more calls to see what else people can do, or what else the sport can do to, you know, the league can do to make it.
Let me tell you this.
Can make it safer and all that. But
how is your fantasy team doing after Ryan Newman's, crash? Is it better? I mean, did you pick someone up off the waiver wire? Like, how you doing? How's your NASCAR league
I almost did 4. And because of the nature of the topic, I stopped myself. And I'm proud of myself.
Now I want you to tell it.
Nope. Not gonna happen. Oh boy. So
did you pick Danica Patrick off the waiver wire?
I did. I picked her up, and she is doing well. The fact that she doesn't race anymore, that was a hindrance. But how did I know that?
How did I know
How did I know that? Yeah, so look, it doesn't have to have a fantasy component to be a sport.
That's definitely
However, I bet you there is fantasy NASCAR. So is it a sport? That's really what Drew wanted us to get down to mention it, to say, you know, glad Ryan's doing good, and then is it a sport? Drew says it 100% is. So I want to hear, while we're discussing this, Drew, what is your argument towards it being a sport? Again, if it's the fact that it's dangerous, that seems odd, but okay. You know, it's just the closer you get to death, the more of a sport it's considered.
Yeah. So this is the completely illogical argument that I have. Running, racing, track, 100% a sport. The second you start distancing the person physically from running on the ground and like putting them on a horse, becomes less of a sport. Putting them in a vehicle, less of a sport. The concept of like trying to be first and everything like that makes it great. But then, you know, it wanders down into, well, is racing cars and video games a sport?
Do you consider video games a sport?
Not really, no.
It's like esports is misnamed.
Agreed.
It should be like e-hobby.
It should be games. They're video games, not video sports. It's in the game.
The fact that their heart rate is more than mine when running.
No, I'm sorry, when running.
Sorry. Let's not forget he's from Ohio.
When running.
You can take the boy out of Ohio. You can't take Ohio out of the boy.
Yeah. Well, you don't think their avatars' lives are on the line when they're racing their cars on NASCAR?
They're going 200 miles per hour.
NASCAR 2020K? I don't know. It's called 2K. I don't know what the game is. What's the NASCAR game?
Madden.
There we go. Madden 20K racing NASCAR live?
Nailed it. Madden's pretty sure that he's got a racing game. R.I.P. I think he's dead.
Yeah, I think he's alive.
Madden?
Yeah, is he? If only we had a way of finding out.
I don't want to Google it.
Let us know. Is he alive?
So you guys do our bidding for us. So what happened?
Mind gap.
So you're saying that the further off the ground people get, the less of a sport it becomes.
I want to address Drew's question. Name a hobby you go into thinking this could be where I die. Scuba diving.
Next. Drew, come on.
Scuba diving. Next. Rock climbing. Next. Bowling. Next. Dude,
yep.
Anything can happen.
Obviously, you've never played Prison Rules.
You go over that line. That's slippery shit. Hit the back of your head. CTE. Out.
Done. Right. What if that ball goes above your head and comes back down on your head? Not good.
All sports. Scuba diving's not a sport. It's an activity you do. You get certified, and you swim underwater.
What's your thoughts on Hungry Hippos? Robinson Drum Guy says 100%, without a doubt, sport.
Dude, let me tell you what. My Hungry Hippos League is competitive.
It's lit as fuck.
Lit as fuck.
Lit AF. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, wow.
Holy crap.
Oh, no way.
Holy shit. Rock climbing is also not a sport. So, again, it's just adventure. I think we're done. I think we did it.
So I would say, to your logic, the higher you get someone off the ground, horse, car, monster truck.
Because here's the thing.
But if that's
I'm not saying it's not difficult.
Okay.
Just like golf is incredibly difficult.
Right. Because it's a sport. So
no, it's not.
Doug.
Tis not. Leave the table alone. Stop touching it. That is my decree.
Show me on the table where he touched the table.
Everywhere. I'm going to pull forensic evidence and they're going to blacklight it. It's just going to be one giant smudge of your hand.
Of my chest.
God.
Drew goes, all right, when the next time Doug drives a truck around at 200 miles an hour, I'll acquiesce, or when he climbs a mountain.
So wait, the way that we determine whether or not this is a sport is whether or not I can do it? Is that what this is?
What is a sport? Hashtag can Doug do it?
Sport. Can Doug do it? Because if he can, it's a sport. In that case, guys, good news. Cooking candied bacon is a sport. All right?
I would agree to that. And you've won. The championship round. I would like to right now propose
I like where this is going.
new video series that we do. Just called Doug Sports.
Can Doug do it?
Can Doug Sport?
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense. I know. Welcome to Mind Gap, Drew.
Yeah. Hi, pal.
I want to get back to, hold on. I want to get back to your getting people, so they're running. That's a sport. They're racing this. You put them on horses and cars. When you put something in between them doing the activity, right? So I would say that when you give someone all this equipment, like in football, in baseball, the more things that you put on them in order to have to do the thing, by your logic, it further removes them from it being a sport.
No.
If it's not just them in the ground.
Well,
right?
No. Well, I guess I see where you're getting at because.
Thank God, because that was a stretch.
I was like,
I'm glad you can.
I think I get what you're saying. You're like, well, if you put stuff on, then therefore,
Jared goes, does that make giving birth a sport? Hashtag Doug can't do it.
Does that make it a sport or is it?
Wait, what was our argument to it?
Then it's not a sport because if I can't do it, then it's not a sport. Is that what we're trying to say?
It's an impressive feat of life is what it is, Jared.
It's
moving on.
The key to our survival.
Right. Watch Children of Men, read a book, go. Was that it? Children of Men?
Children of Men, yeah.
Thank God.
There's no more, babies aren't born anymore.
Read a book.
Watch a movie. So the second you include, racing, just man on the track, woman on the track, non-gendered person on the track, going, racing, seeing what they can do, pushing their bodies to the limit. And then it's like, but now you're going to ride a horse who's going to do all the work for you. And you got to guide them, but they're doing all the work for you. And then it's like, hey, here's this machine. It's really sad. It's not taken care of very well. They strip it down. They build it, take its guts out. Really, what this is really about here is that cars need to be treated better in NASCAR. How come we're not talking about this?
Let's really, this episode of Mind Gap brought to you by Pennzoil.
Midas.
The Midas touch.
Justin's got the Midas touch on this table, and it's too much.
You know you like it too. Man. So are you saying that you could drive a car at 200 miles an hour with the same precision as these drivers? Do not make a crashing joke.
No.
Okay. Wait, so you could not?
No,
I was so concerned that you were going to go to a dark place.
I was not. No, I'm seriously answering that 100%. I'm a terrible driver. I shouldn't say terrible. I'm not skilled at all.
Right. Okay. So there's an element of skill that goes into it.
100%.
An element of stamina.
Of course.
Okay.
Focus.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it is taxing on the body. They are they are exuding a bunch of effort and skill to do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sport.
Also, video games.
False. Show me one person whose heart rate goes above 200 when they're playing a video game.
You ever seen anybody play Call of Duty?
I take it back because you're going to bring me into a room with a 700-pound guy.
I'm just saying, Heart rates spike. What about that VR experience you and I just watched before we got on here? And they're going down.
Different.
How's it different? It's a video game experience, right? Heart rate's jacked. You're focused. You think you're going to do this. You know, you're going to go down the slide that jumps into
You're
water with
standing in a
sharks.
room with the goggles on.
Yeah, but you don't think so. Your mind says, and your eyes say otherwise.
That's great. But
Yeah.
people watching you,
And guess what? Your heart rate spikes, motherfucker. Focus. Heart rate spikes. You got equipment on, right? You got equipment on. You know, you got to put it on. You got to do it because you got to get in there.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Yep.
You know. Prosecution rests, Your Honor.
Thank God, because his heart rate was
Prosecution
getting up there.
Prosecution rests. This is the most confident I've ever been.
Well, you're wrong though, so I'm glad
Look,
you're confident in being wrong.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying I'm right. I just feel
are you seriously making the argument though that VR is a sport?
Here's what I'm saying.
Please tell me this is a Doug bit.
What I'm doing-
Please tell me this is something Tim Sasko would yell at you for.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just trying to diffuse your arguments, and I feel like I'm doing well at it. I feel like I'm doing very well.
Well, because you won't let me talk.
I'm sorry. Continue.
I can diffuse arguments too if I just keep going. That's called filibustering. I got nothing. I don't know. No,
You're trying to play the guilt trip with me?
Did it work?
For half a second, I'm like, I thought I let him talk.
Damn it. No, yeah, I'm fucking around. No, I legitimately think that I just can't stop looking at hashtag Doug can't do it. I need to not look at this right now because it's cracking me up every time I look down. I cannot believe I'm making the argument against VR being a sport, that's even something that we brought up.
Classic deflection.
I am not even gonna.
You shouldn't.
That is out the door.
Yeah.
I think it meets all. Wait. Time out. What was? We had someone on. Was it Volucci? We had someone on, or Haig, or someone that made a really good, like, blanket statement of, if this, then a sport.
Can't wait till you remember what that is.
Do you remember it?
I'm assuming that's what you had in your mind, but you forgot before you came to this
No, I just wanted to use it for. I didn't have that in my mind, but I'm like, oh, this would be a great way to gauge where this sits, because we were both in agreement when they said it. We were like, that's really fucking good.
I think it was Haig.
And even you who were like, what I determined to be a sport is nonsensical. Even you were like, actually, that's a decent measure of a sport. Can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
either.
too bad.
Yeah. No,
We'll have to ask Haig and then revisit it on the next episode.
Because two things. One, I said my thought process was 100% illogical.
Oh,
I
for sure.
I really want to emphasize that.
Right.
What's going through my head? Illogical.
Right.
Not necessarily true, but in my head, that's what I'm like.
Totally.
They're in cars, they're driving. Doesn't mean it's not dangerous.
Right.
Doesn't mean that it doesn't require skill.
I think I got it.
Go.
No, I'm saying I think I see how you're seeing it. You can't remove the fact that what they're doing and what you do to go to Jewel is this, like, they're in a car. I'm in a car. I make left turns.
It's like, it's dangerous. I'm like, yeah, I almost got in a car accident the other
Right.
day driving to Natalie's school.
Right. So ignore all that.
Agreed. And saying going 200 miles an hour, yeah, I'd shit my pants. I would not do very well of it. This is not about me doing it.
There's poopy pants in this car.
There'd be poop all over the place. People are like, man, I want to go to a track and I want to try out the new Porsche. I want to drive around that. I'm like, I don't. That sounds awful. I have zero interest in that.
I'm in.
But to me, if
This
I'm
thing's
measuring,
really got some pickup. Giddy up and.
if I'm measuring, okay, let's say that it's a sport.
It's a
Let's say
sport.
it. Okay, let's say that. Let's pretend.
Sure. All right, yeah.
Because I'm a dick. Let's pretend. I would say it's more of a sport, someone running a race, than it is someone driving a car, and that's where I think I get hung up. Is I'm somehow validating what's more of a sport as opposed to is it a sport. I think that's really what my hang up is.
So basically, yours is a zero sum game. Like there can't be. Would that be an example of a zero sum game?
I don't know.
Where everything, like, it's either there can't be levels to if it doesn't. Oh my God! It makes so much. Your arguments make so much sense now because they're so nonsensical.
Yeah, they're totally nonsensical.
Like you can't have. It's either all or nothing for you.
I think so.
Like if it's somehow in your mind less than this other thing, then it
Yeah,
it negates it and it's void.
That's why I'm always like,
That's interesting.
because
interesting.
Because there's the core ones like basketball, baseball,
Right.
Even baseball. I'm like, football,
Yeah,
hockey.
you're
I'm
on the
like,
fence, baseball.
I was like, they're very active, very whatever, and then it's like, well, then there's also
Driving.
there's tennis, which is incredibly physical.
Right.
And I'm like, well, yeah, that's still one, but then it's like skiing, and I'm like, really? Are we doing? It's like I'm like ranking them in my mind. I'm like, well, that's not as difficult as this, or it's not as intense as this, or blah blah blah. And so then I'm like, someone running an 800-meter dash. I'm like, that's intense. That's a sport. That's a race. And it's like, but now do it on a horse. I'm like, okay, okay. Now you're riding a horse. Now it's like, now get in a car. I'm like, no. It's like I have a hard time.
Now sit and coach on an airplane.
Now go really fast. It's like, it's really
going 800 miles an hour.
It's to me, I'm like, I that's how my brain works. And
Sure.
I think I've come to terms with that now is when I'm saying, no, it's not a sport. I just can't qualify it and lump it in with everything else that I do consider to be obviously the apex, not the apex, but it's something where everyone's like, yeah, it's obviously a sport.
Yeah.
They're punching each other in the dick. That's a sport.
It's a sport,
like,
dick punching.
Yeah,
just the tip.
Yeah. Because for me to be like, I'm driving a car versus an MMA match, I'm like, they're not the same. It's like, no, they're not. But they could still be sports. I feel like we really hit a milestone here.
I really like this is almost like when you go to therapy for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And that one session, you're just like, and that's why I can't eat flaming hot Cheetos. It makes so much sense. My dad hit me.
I really want to thank Drew Dole for helping him to get
you
there.
have you've blown this wide open.
Yeah.
That's all it is, man. Well done, Drew Dole.
Thank you, sir.
Whatever time zone you're in, well done.
Yeah, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, well done. That was perfect. That's where we have to go.
I was like, oh, this is a Kumite moment. Yeah.
Kumite. I was like, we have to go here.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know what else is a sport? What? Throwdown? Oh, boy.
Whew. That was an emotional one.
It was, man. My voice is like shot, and I'm loving it.
I want to go do some voiceover.
Voiceover work in a world. All right. So today's throwdown.
Car versus man.
Go. One of them running, one of them driving.
200 miles an hour.
200 miles an hour and go. Shit, man. Have we done Daredevil versus Batman?
I don't think so. Let's do it.
Because I was going to do something else, but Eric, you're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Fucking A.
Daredevil.
If we've done it before, I apologize, but this is going to be Daredevil versus Batman.
Yeah.
Since the internet is ablaze right now.
Well, interesting because both. Well, here's the thing: Daredevil's probably at a disadvantage because he doesn't have he doesn't have resources.
True. He is a lawyer. Lawyers are rich.
He's a defendant for poor people. Works poor Bruno.
Right. He's got a lot of casserole dishes.
Yeah, and So, and he does have the ability to, obviously see. So good for him.
He's fire.
And Batman obviously has tons of gadgets.
He can see too.
And he's also incredibly great detective. Very smart.
Right.
Very tactical. I just think he has too much at his disposal.
Batman does.
Now, I'll give Daredevil credit. I mean, he's not going to give up. I mean, he's going to be...
Both of them have insane wills. We've seen Daredevil really take that to a different level, though. I will say that I'd be surprised if Batman didn't have... Because, again, Batman does so much research. Batman lays traps. Batman... I would be surprised if he didn't have something kind of filed away in the back of his head, like, if Daredevil, then this.
Yeah.
Like an if else or an if then statement.
Well, I just look at it as probably a lot of, I don't know if a lot of the fear tactics that Batman would use would work on Daredevil.
Okay.
Because really, that's kind of how, well, that's for lower level folks, and really even the higher level criminals.
Yeah.
That's how Batman really affects them.
Yes.
So I don't know if that'll be as effective on Daredevil. He's a man without fear, and stuff.
That's
he's
true.
He's
Yeah.
just a guy who's
That's
he's just not going to give up. But I think where Daredevil excels is in the physical area, and I think I would put them as pretty well matched
as far as
like hand-to-hand combat goes.
Hand-to-hand combat, just because of what we've seen Daredevil. And I would say Batman, I would almost be inclined to give him a slight advantage in hand-to-hand combat just because, he has gone through some weird shit.
Yeah.
But again, with the hand and everything and with stick and all that shit, Daredevil's gone through some weird shit too.
Yeah.
And Daredevil has also developed the ability to heighten the other 4 sentences to an insane level, to the point where he legitimately can see.
Yeah.
And so because of all the stuff he's gone through, Batman doesn't really have heightened senses per se. He's got tools and gadgets and he's got his brain, but Murdoch can almost it's almost to the point where it's like precognition, where like he can hear the movement of something or like hear a heartbeat and like, oh, here comes an attack. I just feel like that almost gives him a superpower.
But I also feel like Batman will be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
In a short amount of time, he'd be able to almost analyze the situation.
And then use a gadget to counter it.
To counter it or find a way around it.
Stink bombs.
Oh, God.
Oh, what is that shit?
Bat stink.
Bat turd. Yeah. Guano.
And I think, there's so much at Batman's disposal to use, whereas I think Daredevil's just sheer will. Yeah. And I think that just doesn't, I just don't think that's going to, that's not gonna be enough to stop Batman.
So I guess because I would say if it was just straight,
and neither of them kill. So I mean,
what are we doing, guys? What are we fucking doing? So it's so no one wins. It's a standoff.
Like who's gonna break the other person's bones first?
Right. Who TKOs them?
Yeah. Right.
So I would say that I honestly think if you stripped away everything and it was a bare knuckle brawl, I would give it to Daredevil. Mm-hmm. But because Batman is never without all of his stuff, and we're taking it like with what they have. He's always got some sort of something on him in that utility belt or with whatever else. Mm-hmm. And Daredevil's got his stick thing, right? His kind of nunchuck thing. Yeah. Just based off of Batman's whole arsenal. It's got to be
Batman's
it's
arsenal,
be Batman.
His martial prowess, and I think what puts him over the top is his intellect and his detective ability.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think his ability to analyze and react is going to give him an advantage.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's one of those where you put it through the analyzer multiple times.
Yeah.
I would say 60-40.
Yep.
But I'm going to say...
give it 70-30.
70-30? Mm-hmm. Batman for the win!
Oh, yeah.
Pew, 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 pew. Wow.
Holy crap. Way to go, Batman.
Gloob. I don't know what that is.
That was fun.
Yay!
Yay! Justin, what have you got to recommend this week?
Oh, Christ. Leaves of Grass is a Walt Whitman compendium of poems. It's pretty good.
All right.
Go pick up Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman.
Go pick up the leaves and put them in the bag. Actually, don't. Mow over them.
That fucking dummy. They're blades of grass. Not leaves of grass. Come on, Walt. Breaking Bad's also pretty good.
Nice. I mentioned this band a couple weeks ago, but Beach Bunny just recently had a full-length album drop called Honeymoon. Highly recommend it. It's excellent. Very well written lyrics, very fun sound. They've come, like, I got their EP before that and this one, and it's, wow, they've really excelled in their sound and everything like that. Really, really impressed. So check out Beach Bunny. Their album Honeymoon. One of my favorite songs on there is Promises and also Rear View. Very good songs. Highly recommend them. So check those out. That being said, other things you can check out are all of our social medias. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Mind Gap Podcast. Look for us on YouTube, where we find all of our episodes, our videos, the audio mixed with Twitch. And hang out with us on Twitch. You guys have been great hanging out with us tonight. Drew, thank you for your suggestions.
It was awesome, man.
Of stuff. Thank you, Robinson, Drum Guy, for stopping by and hanging out. Always, Jared, you're the best. Thank you to Clown Pup for hanging out with us. Etoy07, I saw him hop in here for a quick second. Thank you to everyone who continues to hang out with us and chat with us on Twitch. It really means a lot. We love having you be involved with our recordings.
Probably one of the best parts of the recording, to be able to do this, and then you guys bring up stuff that we're like, oh, I didn't even think about that, and then that's it. This has taken the dynamics of this podcast to a different level. So very much thank you.
Yeah, it adds an element to it that we just really enjoy, and the engagement is an absolute blast. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for doing that. And Justin can also be found digitally as well.
On Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. While you're in the online realm, check us out on Apple Podcast, on Stitcher,
Spotify,
and Google Podcast, wherever you can find and consume the old podcasts. Like us, subscribe to us, share us around. That's the big one, please, because sharing is caring. Review us, rate us, all those things. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap. And then 2east8th.com in general. Keep an eye on all our socials.
Yes. So, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
Twitch, thank you.
And we'll see you all next week because it's gonna be a dandy fucking week, y'all.
Mind Gap Podcast.